Salute, salute, salute. Peace and power, peace and power. I thank the universal truth and the absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. The divine mind knows, the divine mind shows. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Salute, peace, and power to the people who struggle. Salute, salute, salute. As you come on in, as you come on in, do know that this is a safe space, that this is a space that encourages intelligence, this is a space that encourages growth. This is a space where we build with each other, where we work on love, all on a path towards liberation. We are analytical, we are at peace as we prepare for what we know is coming, what we know is already upon us. Okay? For what we know is coming and is upon us and has been upon us. When my classroom assistants come through, make sure that the green screen info is in effect and is in the chat during the entire build. Okay? Please know that. Anybody who needs any services, the information will be in there, whether it be anger management, domestic violence, life skills. Please put it in there. As you all see, it is very late. I've had a very, very, very long day. Very long day. But it was a beautiful day. Okay? It was a beautiful day. Okay? Let me shout out my roots and culture. This is an organization out of Ottawa, Canada. This organization does so much up there for the youth in their community. They hold safe spaces where they are allowed to participate in physical activities, where they are allowed to, play same things that we play here, basketball, handball, uh, you know, tennis, football, stretching out, whatever, these pre-teens to older teens need to do in a safe space and environment. And afterwards, they bring them into the classroom and they dialogue with these youths to keep them solid and on track. But the main subject of the dialogue is Pan-Africanism and a free and self-governing Haiti. Okay? So I was able, though it was hectic, to meet with this delegation as they came to New York to speak at this Pan-African conference in the UN. So they were here the majority of the week, and because of scheduling, today was the only day I could get up there and build with them and speak with them and hug them and, make sure that they knew that this individual who they have been speaking with for the better part of a year and a half, almost 2 years, is an actual person. So I had to go through holiday, well, not so much holiday, but weekend traffic during one of the warmest days of the year so far, right? And you know how New York City is. But it was such, and you know, there's absolutely no parking around the UN. But I had to do what I had to do. You know how New Yorkers get. And just the opportunity to build with, to engage ideas, and to speak with, and to have people uh, damn near demand my presence. People from another country who recognize the work that I do, the work that I've been doing, right? It was, it made up for the busyness of the traffic, and you know, I haven't been in the city in a minute, in a good minute. So I uh, met with the comrades. Very, very dynamic. You guys will meet her, if not here on this platform. It'll be on my IG. I'll go live with her. A brilliant, dynamic uh, queen comrade named Ketcha Peters, and she really does her thing in Ottawa. And you know, for us to speak on Pan Africanism, and connecting, right, and seeing movements, um, and learning from each other, and being able to articulate the same dynamics, you know, even though we're so far apart in distance, um, and for them to, you know, really, really, you know, want to, you know, be right in my physical space. It was a good thing. And we sat up there for hours, right? And we build. Salute, salute. Thank you, Big Soul. Much appreciated for the super chat. So it was again, you know, just a little piece of the work, and then of course I had to get back to BK, which it still boggles my mind how I used to get from East New York to Harlem in like 20-25 minutes. East New York to anywhere in Midtown. You know what I'm saying? 10-15 minutes. Man, it took me an hour and a half just to get home. Just to get back to the borough. Put it like that. And then to do, you know, the other aspects of my work as far as getting in the community, and learning some other things that I didn't know was taking place. Like there's a sister who's doing a lot of anti-gun violence work, and now she's not being funded after proving, you know what I'm saying, over the past 5 or 6 years how much work she's been doing, and not only, you know, the eyes of us locally, but consistent presence in broadcast media, to find out that she's not being funded anymore and really wasn't secure in the funding blows my mind. So I had to, you know, speak with her, and just a lot going on. Matter of fact, before I forget, um, this June is anti-gun violence month. We're all supposed to be wearing orange all day, every day for this month. Don't know how it got, you know, bumped out, and now all of a sudden it's some other month. But this is anti-gun violence month. And we just seen from the 1st of June how it's been going. You know, we've already had shootings all around the country. 2 days. So who's putting in the work, right? Who's even allowing that to be in the space of social media, in their spaces? Like all these individuals who I've been telling people about, who are not really of this work, who are not really in the work, who are just getting a check from claiming it. Y'all haven't heard a peep from these people, from none of the major incidents that have been going on. They've been sold out, right? As I say sold, because they're soulless, they're sold out for the bag. We haven't heard from any of them. All these people who just 6 months ago was the most visible people on social media, getting donations, right? Getting commercials, doing all this shit. You haven't heard nothing from them. Nothing. But again, I'm the hate. I'm the one. Well, maybe you should talk to him. Maybe you should. I've been in it. I've done this work for decades. I'm going on my second decade. I know full of shit people when I see them. So I don't need to be in their spaces at all. At all. And if I check them, I check them. Ain't nothing about hate. I know I love my people. I believe in my people. So there has to be truth and transparency when dealing with this work. Simple as that. So I don't know about y'all, but I find this shit real crazy that it's been dead. It's been quiet for a nice amount of time. The only couple of people have been consistent, you dig what I'm saying, is those who've been consistent. Regardless of how anybody thinks about their strategies or their tactics or their presence, I only see two people consistently in the work. We see Sarnetta in the work, we see Taharka in the work, and that's consistent out of their mouth. Everybody else is on some bullshit. Everybody else is starting to shift and want to be entertainers and all of a sudden want to have a creative edge to them instead of getting down, staying with the issues, the topics, possible solutions, where we need to be. That's it. That's it. Everything else has become a song and a dance in corporate. So this month, anti-gun violence month, we'll see how much work get done. We'll see who is doing the work and what the outcome is going to be. So far, ain't shit been prevented or even spoke about, which leads us to today's bill, right? Today's bill with having a class on the anti-black hate that has been, well, we know it's been going on for 2 millennia so far. But as of recent, there has been a surge of Asian on melanated people abuse and abuses. And it's been unchecked to now it's at a degree where a 14-year-old melanated kid was shot in the back, by this Asian piece of elephant dung, Rick Chow, right? Who has had a history of it. And I don't get it. In some of these spaces, in some of these cities, in some of these states, they are the most dangerous locations for us as a people to be amongst our own people. Dangerous. Dudes getting their head knocked off with the chopper. Knocked off. Chest blown out. Maiming. Ammunition that ripped limbs off. Dangerous spaces. Our rappers are getting murdered. Athletes stuck up, shot. Actresses. Just the most dangerous places for our people to be in amongst our own people. And yet we have the others, whether they be Euro, whether they be Latin, whether they be Asian, just have the audacity to not go at our men so much, but to take the life of our women and children. Again, in spaces where it is the most dangerous spaces for us. They allow these cowards, these bitch-made individuals, to have a track record of abuse against our women and children, where it should never be that, where it should be one time this one talks sideways to one of our women. This one said something sideways to one of our children. One time. And they should be ran up out of it. Ran up out of the community. Gates shuttered, if not burned down. One time. The slightest indiscretion. Because this is how we treat each other. The slightest look, the slightest glare, the slightest gesture, the slightest indiscretion, melanated people ready to take each other's head off. It's World War V. You ain't gonna disrespect me. I'm about that life. Slightest shit. Someone may have just misunderstood a comment. Someone might not have seen an individual. A slight brush up, anything. And it's on. It's up. All the way up. The slightest indiscretion. But for them, who we can see on camera, who we can witness in a clip, can have documented abuse against our women and children, and they can still operate in that space is crazy. Crazy to me. Insane. So we have the situation coming out of South Carolina. And it was kind of quiet for a second until we see a live video of the same individual, right, abusing young black girls, black teens in the location, and we can see that he has a firearm on him while he's fighting girls, while he's wrestling girls, while he's abusing and attacking young black girls. Then what he just did recently begins to gain traction and get viral because he has a documented history of abuse against our people. So now you start to hear the story of him shooting young Cyrus in the back, right? And then it unfolds that this is his pattern, this is his behavior dating all the way back to 2015. And maybe even prior to that. Some of the altercations may have not been documented, but we do know of the most recent. And this has been a pattern. I don't want anybody to think that we shouldn't be as enraged as we are. And that's in case any of you Euros decide to watch me. This isn't something that you can shrug your shoulders at. Because when somebody has a documented history of abuse against us, you guys who have been, right, the ones who set the pace, to set the momentum when it comes to abuses against melanated people, you seem to fall back and think it's all good. Now, Mr. Chow has been arrested and charged in this instance, but it should have never got that far. In 2015, we're going to find out, or we found out, that he fired several shots at a vehicle after he tried to stop someone he suspected of shoplifting. Okay? Nobody got hurt. But see, he suspected somebody of shoplifting. Now, young Cyrus, this is Cyrus Carmack Belton. They suspected him of stealing water. So, and they gave a number, what was it, 3, 4 bottles? So for $4, this man is so enraged, right, that he runs out after the altercation in the store. You're so enraged that someone is out of your establishment and away from you, running and fell, got up after falling, and then you shoot him in the back. For $4, you're that enraged. Now, the history is in 2015, he suspected somebody of shoplifting, right? In 2018, he confronted a shoplifter at his Shell station, at the same gas station, right? And the man attacked him, okay? Mr. Child fired 2 shots and wounded the man, okay? And now we see him on video fighting teenage girls, fighting to where they have no wins, and to where you can see the other Asians in the store making an attempt to get him to stop, wouldn't stop. And you clearly, what it got everybody in the uproar, you clearly see he's carrying. So at any given time, that could have went off. He was so enraged that at any given time, he could have pulled out and shot one of these young girls. Now, again, I know I'm ultra militant, and I could ruffle people when I say that all our people need to be experts in self-defense with the hands, experts in self-defense with a knife, experts in self-defense with firearms, because we are under attack. We are at war. We have no friends. And not only do we need to be experts in self-defense, but we also need to be experts on the offense as well. That's just how I see it. That's what I believe in. I believe in arms. I believe in fight. I believe in war. And the preparation for that starts here. So again, I'm looking at the video and I'm asking, why are these girls fighting this man and don't know how to fight? I'm listening to the language of it, how our children articulate themselves, not only when they're in a calm space, but also when they're elevated, and how out of alignment they are when it comes to war, when it comes to confrontation, out of order. Really are responding wrong, because again, they're always being taught through these institutions to be submissive to the authority of white supremacy, if you believe in such, or the authority of these institutions that govern. That is how we have been taught for a millennia and a half. We have been taught, we have been beat, we have watched ourselves be lynched, undereducated, underemployed. And that is in the psyche. The minute we see anyone speak of arms, speak of defense, speak of being in a militant mindset, it's pushback. And it's going to continue to allow people like this to shoot our kids in the back. Because for a half a year, they've been talking about anti-Asian hate bills, when these attacks have been going on since Shorty was killed, right? Out there in Cali for orange juice, for a juice, you were shot in the face, right? In the back of the head, turn around, bang. Why? Because globally, the call, the 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 charge has been lack of respect, lack of respect for Black life. If you don't speak English, you understand the code. If you don't speak any other language, know anything, the code has been to look at Black and have no respect for that skin, have no respect for that energy. And there are policies globally that allows people to not be punished for our misfortunes, for our bodies being assaulted, for our bodies being shut down. It's minimal penalty for that. That's just an understanding. That's an understanding from corporations. That's an understanding from justice systems. That's an understanding of jurists, judges, that when you see that melanated life, it is worthless. It is devalued. So when we see that and do not teach our people that, our people come up under a space of subservience and a lack of value. And they're not prepared for the attacks. They're just not. And the ones who are prepared, who are always on go, are demonized in our communities. We ostracize them because they may be street individuals. They may be gang members. They may be those who don't acknowledge the institutions. So those of us who are in a comfortable space within the institution demonize those folks. Those are the niggers. You don't deal with them. Those are the ex-felons. Those are the ones who haven't pledged. You understand? For a frat or a sorority. Those are the ones who are underemployed. So those are the ones who rarely get that energy. But ours who are walking upright, who are just, who are naive to the society, always become victims. So now when we have this space of Asian hate been going on, I can tell you, forever. Because their task is to come on into our living spaces, which they call communities, establish a business, and damn if it is not to our liking. They're giving you what they want to give you, because the task of everyone outside of melanated folks is to extract the resources from these individuals and keep it moving. And the minute that you don't allow them to do that, they can lash out violently. And if we're not organized, which we aren't, you just have to shrug your shoulders. You get angry, and that anger starts to fester and turn into stress, and then you start having strokes. So as this store owner had a history of violence against our people, now it has escalated, and he still look like he don't even speak English well, because that's what they allowed him to do. They allowed him to sit here in this corporation for decades without being patriotic, without learning the language, but allowed them to suck the resources out and go about their business. And again, if anyone gives them guff for doing it, the laws protect them. I know firsthand. I told you the way that I was pushed through social media was not because of the work that I was doing in anti-gun violence. That wasn't making any noise. The main set off for me was when Christina Thomas and her grandmother Thelma were assaulted in the nail salon on Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn. They were assaulted. The salon manager locked them in. His wife and all the employees attacked them on camera. Acetone was sprayed on them. They were beat with brooms. They were assaulted in this space, all over a $3 charge. Immediately, since I worked in the area, I went out to see what was up. I started attending the organizational meetings for the protests. And because it was being recorded, and I was recording my lives from there and how serious it was intense. It was intense, right? Because not only was she assaulted, the police also charged her. And at the time, our illustrious mayor, at that time he was borough president, and wouldn't come out and wouldn't speak out against these people. Matter of fact, he had meetings with the Asian merchants at that time who were saying there was anti-Asian hate because people were spraying graffiti on stores. Okay? Wouldn't show face, wouldn't come through. None of the politicians would come through. So it was organized. And again, as a person, I stood independently away from my team who was ready to go through and exercise the most damage that we know how to do. But I kept them back. I said, no, let me assist in this. This is in our neighborhood. This is in our area. Let me see how this plays out. And we protested for a year. Me, myself, and sometimes would leave work at 1 a.m. after attending to people who were shot in the emergency room to go out there. So we would have 24-hour surveillance so we can make sure that this establishment wouldn't open. And they sent agents at us. They sent all type of things at us. They sent black people. We can show you the film who was mad because this establishment wasn't opening. Our own people. Our own people. Okay? At that same time, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, one of the Nation of Islam brothers that I come to have an acquaintance with was going through the exact same thing in Oklahoma, where a sister, April Harding, was punched in the mouth by a store owner because he believed that her toddler had took some little figure from like a beret or something. You understand? He punched her in the mouth. And at that time, the brother Alvin Muhammad started his protest. So we would go back and forth online while they was protesting, and sometimes he would be the only one out there. And sisters would get mad and walk past him, knowing that this type of violence was going on in that space out there. Right? Women, knowing that this man assaulted a black woman, still wanted to go in there and get their wigs and weaves and whatever. And me, standing outside sometime by myself. We started with a large group and it began to shrink. And I'm standing out there saying, damn, I'm out here. This isn't my area. This isn't my community. But these are my people. So I'm coming all the way out there from East New York and giving play-by-play, giving commentary online. So that's what gave me that little presence that y'all see now. The zero tolerance for any type of hate against our people, but specifically Asian hate, because they are the ones who have been for decades extracting resource from the community. Heavy resource. So it's not only the food joints. It got into hair and beauty. They're taking billions out and then have the nerve to beat you, to disrespect you, to spit on you. And men, black men, will walk past these establishments, not bat an eye. So that repetitive behavior only escalates. So it goes from a spit, it goes from a curse out, it goes from a punch to a whipping, to a beating, to a shooting. Because that is the code. That is the code that the world speaks. When you see that skin, you don't have to respect it. When you see that skin, it means nothing. So that's where it comes with these little funny terms. They need implicit bias training and things like that. That shit don't mean nothing because it's been ingrained in these individuals as pups, as babies. It is no way that we're in 2023. In 2023 and getting the same treatment that we've been getting since, come on, 1524, 1528. That means that it is in their DNA to continue to educate that. And then you keep getting influxes of different individuals that come over and continuously do that. Continuously do that. Now, why are they in our communities? Again, I told you they're extracting billions. And if you go to my Facebook page, it'll come up because when we did the protest, it was in August, within the first week of August. Alvin Muhammad in Tulsa, Oklahoma was around August, maybe 16th or 17th. So it's going to be coming up. I showed and proved to you. I went to Little Korea, right? In Queens. And walked up and down all the blocks. Walked in and out of the stores. Walked through, stood there. No one asked me to come in the store. Not one person. I walked up and down the block. 10 or 12 stores. No one said hi. No one batted an eye. No one wanted my dollars. I was in their community. Nobody wanted me to buy anything. Yet when you go to our communities, they're sitting there. I showed that. That was part of one of my political education pieces. So my money is not good to spend while I'm in your community. But you can come over to where we reside and set up shop and expect everything. And don't ask for extra goddamn duck sauce. Don't ask for a fortune cookie. It's all hell and hot water. If you 5 or 6 cents short on a $40 bill, you can't get it. But when I'm in their community, they didn't acknowledge me. Not a smile, not a hi, nothing. I was the invisible man. And this goes on in Latin communities as well. And the bad thing is now it's going on in other communities where we are the dominant. If we don't have a specific accent. If we're not waving a specific flag, we have learned to dehumanize ourselves, to devalue each other. So that's why when people come from Canada and say, brother, we want to meet with you. We respect you, your word, your work. Please, our goal. I got to feel the energy of the tribe, because that's what we into now. We have to find our tribe. Because we don't own this time and space. And in this time and space, we have to find the tribe that connects to that intelligence, that intellectual property that's going to keep us militant, because they're killing us. killing us. And if we don't teach our kids how to shoot, if we don't teach them how to stab, if we don't teach them how to punch and how to speak, we're going to lose more and more and more. That's just how it moves, man. When you are not determined to save the self, the rest of the world will eat you up. That's just what it is. And when you have people who have these big platforms, who have the megaphone, who got the mics, are silent to it, they mean you no good. You get upset and you laugh and you are enraged by Charleston White's antics, but he done told you about the Asians for the longest. He told you, fuck them. I've been saying it, but I don't lean on it because I'm leaning on encouragement of getting in my people mind. I don't have to say that. I don't have to say fuck a China Mac or Johnny Wang or any of these boats because they not built like me. I'm in the mecca of this shit. But he ain't saying nothing wrong. These individuals ain't saying nothing wrong. Where is the outrage? Where is it? Where is it? LeBron ass got swept. Why isn't he speaking about Cyrus Belton? Why? We're looking at John Morant. That's South Carolina. That's Columbia. Why isn't a statement being made by him or his father T about this young man? What are we doing? This is a kid. Shot in the back. We just gonna ignore that? But yet we give them our time and attention, and Bliz can't come on during the game. Bliz can't come on during the fight because I gotta watch the fight. I gotta watch the game. Really? We give them our space, our time and attention, and get nothing in return, but you expect white institution, you expect the Euros to give you reparations when you can't demand the self-respect from your own, when you can't bust your own upside the head with a brick. So what you doing? They're killing us. They're putting tools in space for us to kill ourselves. And here you have the world watching you, and you put on a dress, or you get your grippers painted in white with sprinkles and dazzle, or you carrying a purse, or you wearing a dress. This is where we at with it. This is where we're at with it. Again, I don't have the time to spoon feed. I don't have the time for that. I have to find my tribe. I got a daughter that's getting ready to go out into the world with no men to protect her. Most of the men want to attack her because they so full of shit in here that they still blaming their mama. They still blaming grandma and their baby mama instead of being self-reflective. When you don't supply what you're demanding, if you want to feel like a man, if you want to be treated like a man, if you demanding that, what are you supplying? What is the intellectual property you're supplying? What is the resource you're supplying? Supply and demand, baby. I learned that in the game. Supply and demand. What are you supplying to get the demands and the requirements out of that, which makes you that awesome Lord? Again, misdirection, deflection. You know who the enemy is. You know what enemy institutions are. But that lack of responsibility to govern the self got you twisted up inside. And here, again, this week it'll be the Asians. Next week it'll be the Guatemalans or the Hondurans. Next week it'll be the Ukrainians. The week after that it'll be the Israelis again. And they just keeps passing the buck, passing the buck, passing the buck. As long as they keep you in the same frame. So the question is never what I'm going to do. It's what are you going to do? I work for the people. I do this for the people. Now, how do we build? Because again, they're comfortable doing it. They're very comfortable doing it. He shot that boy in the back, ain't blinking an eye. And went into the system like, fuck it, what's going to happen? Because in his space, in his unconsciousness, because he's not conscious, because he's just doing it. He's just here. He doesn't understand the social impact. He doesn't understand the dynamics of that shit. When you don't speak English, you don't understand how we live. You don't understand what chattel slavery is about. You don't understand this dynamics over here. You still speaking Mandarin. You still over there speaking whatever, you Vietnamese, Karim, you still speak that. You just over here. You the worker bee. You don't understand that social implications that come with killing a black child, shooting them in the back. They have no concern for it. They don't care about our story at all. I don't know when y'all going to start believing that. They don't care about none of that. Can they sell it to their people? 9 times out of 10, they can't sell it to their people because their people don't want to know our story. They didn't go in droves to see Friday. They didn't go in droves to see Boys in the Hood. They didn't go in droves to see Juice. They don't care about our story. The only white people that care about that is the ones who know that they got other blacks that can sell that shit to our people, and we going by that. They don't care about your story. That's why the fuck y'all don't get an Oscar. They don't care about that shit. They ignore that. So when your murder happened, move that shit to the side. We got to talk about this debt ceiling crisis. Damn that little black nigga boy. That's what it is. But yet you still want to participate. No, I still got to go vote. I still got to go vote. I still got to go to work. I still got to pay taxes. I still believe, oh, it's the 4th of July. You so ingrained in their thing that you ignore yours until you see that little boy mama crying, until you see that blood in the street, until you see these little black girls screaming on a video, and you're wondering, where's the father? Where's the uncle? Where's the big brother? Why are these black girls in these communities not being taught not to go in these establishments? Or why are those the only establishments within 2, 3, 4, 5 miles walking? Where's ours? But yet you continue to see those who we believe is rich parading around with euros, running around in businesses that don't have nothing to do with giving you back what you may need. These are the questions, and this is what brews, and this is what triggers the angry responses from black women when they say, fuck these niggers, I don't need them. So there is no anti-black hate bill, anti-black hate law, or policy. Because mum's the word. We could kill black people at any given time. Mum's the word. We can abuse them at any given time. Mum's the word. We can accuse them at any given time. Because that is the policy. That is the policy. It's been the policy since Greco-Roman. It's been a policy since Manifest Destiny. It's been a policy since capitalism. It's been the policy since the American flag. They ain't worth shit. Do what you will with them. And should you get caught, oh well. They'll be quiet in a minute. They'll let you go as soon as they forget about you. So again, I had a very long day. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. Was with some beautiful people. Beautiful people. I just had to get this bill in. Had to. Because I'm not one for talking. But I can only do it so much. I have a disaster going on right here in my backyard that I tend to. All right? What are you going to do? Salute, peace, and power. All praise due to the people of the struggle. All praise due. Thank you for all of the super chats. Much appreciated for any of the green screens that came through. Okay, let us enjoy this weekend. Let us love each other. Let us find the path towards liberation and cut anybody down right at the knee. Anybody that tries to prevent your potential for growth. Anybody. Salute, peace and power.